Hey there guys, DMO73 bringing you the second deck profile of the day. This one is Josh's Apostle of Cain, aggro slash burn kind of combo. Let's just go ahead and jump right into it. It's pretty straightforward in the sense that it runs like a Cain deck that has a lot of just aggro, a lot of push really early. But in order to kind of finish the opponent off and slash if the game is taking too long, it transitions to a very burn heavy kind of core. Really powerful, kind of can catch your opponent off guard, and is really good at kind of switching tempos based on what deck it's facing off against. So the ruler is Apostle of Creation, pay a red, flip it over, make it Cain. Has first strike, pay a red, it can deal 200 damage to target Resonator. All your cognates gain plus 200. And at the beginning of your main phase, without having to tap him, you just take the top card of your Mana Stone deck and put it into play. So he kind of auto-builds aggression as you keep pushing your opponent away. And then it's a basic red deck, so we run 10 basic reds. You could splash in a My List if you wanted, but we want to try and minimize our own burn against ourselves, so we just run the 10 basic reds. Moving into the monster lineup, it is the 4 Black Goat. Lets you put on early grain, kind of early beats, as well as if your opponent does block it, it turns into a burn source later on. So that fits really well into the whole idea of changing the tempo based on what your matchup is. Then there's the Cognate Engine, which is just 4 Apostle of Cain, which can get swiftness when it enters. If you're a J-Ruler, attack this turn, so swing in with Cain, play this, then swing in with this. Really good. Jubal, the Grandsire, Musicians, 4 of. When it attacks, if your J-Ruler attack this turn, you can deal 500 damage to something. So again, something's going to try and get in your way, and you just play Jubal after Cain is attacked, and you can help get rid of it. Jabal makes it so that when it attacks, if your J-Ruler attack this turn, something can't block. So if your opponent only has one creature in their way, and you already attacked with Cain, you can swing in and make it so that that creature can't ever block any of the other rest of your attacks. So you can just keep swinging in and get the rest of your attacks in for free. Then, to kind of help with speed up the deck, it runs 4 Forty Thieves, lets him draw 2, lets him discard 2, and with cards like Black Goat, he kind of has free discard ability because he can just set up the burn later on or get rid of stuff that he doesn't really need. So this is a really good card. Kind of a mid-range card slash spot removal kind of card is Little Dread the Fake Red Moon. It has target attack, which is really good for an 800. You can pay a red to give, when it enters, for an awakening, to give it, so pay 4. To give something plus 600, minus 600, which can serve as a buff, which can serve as a spot removal, all kinds of stuff. You can also pay a red and a colorless to recover target Resonator, gain control of it until the end of the turn, and give it swiftness. So you can actually use this on your own Resonator that's already attacked to quickly bring it back up and swing in again. You can do all kinds of stuff with it, steal your opponent's creature, all kinds of things. The thing to note is you can actually pay for both. It just becomes a 6-drop card, which based on the matchup and based on what you're doing can be viable. So really good card. And then to kind of get in the last little bit of damage and to make sure that you have kind of a boss monster to throw out to finish things off, Blazer, the Eater of Dimensions. If you get to a point where you can play 2 Blazers in one turn, every turn it's going to be hard for your opponent to keep up, and at that point in time you're just going to win. So Blazer's really good for that kind of finishing play. Moving on to the spell lineup, it runs just 1 Rapid Decay for kind of some spot removal against a fellow kind of rush deck if needed. Just that one thing that's kind of a little bit too big. This is also really good against little red Oz Fairy Tale decks because everything is mostly 1 or 2 drops. Tinkerbell, stuff like that. Really powerful card right now. The burn component for Thunders, we've talked about this before. It's just a free 200 or 500 damage to either a Resonator or to a player or to a J-Ruler, so it causes a lot of havoc for this deck. And then Crime and Punishment, which is your kind of anti-ruler kind of play, or anti-heavy hitter kind of play. You let them swing in, or they block you, or something else, and kill your creature, or whether or not they do. If you don't kill their creature, then you just play Crime and Punishment on them for a 1 cost, and it'll deal the full attack of that creature to itself, because creatures always do the full amount of damage, even if the Resonator they're attacking or blocking has less defense than that. So it's just a free 1-drop kill your dude spell. For some more burn element, Purifying Fire. just to be able to burn a human or burn 700 damage to the player. It's a spell chant, but it's still really good to kind of finish the game. And then 4 Split Heaven and Earth. As you saw in the video, this card is really, really powerful right now, especially against decks that use a lot of different colors. You just take a free 300 damage. Each player takes 300 damage for each special stone they control. In this deck, you're never going to take that damage because you're playing pure mono red basic stones. But if your opponent even has 5, that's 1500 damage. So that's really, really powerful. And if they have all 10 up and they're all special stones, that's 3000 damage off of 1 spell for 2 mana. So really, really good spell to kind of close the games off. For a little bit of extra burn and some variety, you run Dragon King's Flame, just to be able to burn quickly, get rid of a target creature, or get rid of that last little bit of damage at an instant speed during your opponent's turn or during your turn or whatever. And then to kind of be a countdown clock, I guess, we play Eden the Crimson Garden. Players can't gain life while this is on the field, and at the end of each turn, it deals 200 damage to each player. So every single turn, both players are going to slowly get less and less and less life. So that whole, the whole idea is to just make it so that your opponent's going to run out of time and either get burned by this, burned by your spells, or rush down by your Resonators before they know what to do. So yeah, that is the deck. It was pretty fun to play against. The fact that it can switch gears really fast from being aggro to burn, I think is really clever, and I think works really well for this deck, especially with Cain being able to auto-generate stones. It gives you a huge stone base to be able to utilize all those burn spells while still putting pressure on your opponent with the low drop creatures. So yeah, really, really fun deck. But yeah, go ahead and let me know what you guys thought about it down below in the comments. What you thought you would change, what you think whether you think you would run this deck, if you have run this deck, how did it work for you? Be sure to check in next week for another feature match, and like, comment, and subscribe as always. And until then, guys, this is DMO73 signing off.